Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Dr. Jaws here. And it is holiday 2025. So we are finally here. It's really hard to believe it's the end of the year, honestly. A lot has happened. A lot has happened in the shark world as far as that recent CITES Appendix 1 announcement for the oceanic white-tip shark, and I believe the whale shark being advanced to Appendix 1. So, which is a huge win for shark conservation. That's actually one of the most significant advances in shark conservation that I've seen in, like in the entirety of been doing Dr. Jaws. So, really excited about that. So it's been an interesting year. A lot of stuff, but as far as sharks go, that was a really historic win. So we're going to kind of round things out and wrap things up with a relatively new species. This is actually a third nurse shark, and there might actually be four in the world now. So there's the classic nurse shark, Ginglymostoma serratum, the tawny nurse shark, which is Nebrius. I think you say it's Ferragonius. I forget the species name, but the tawny nurse shark, which we've covered. I think there is a new species that is being described that is going to be splitting off from the classic nurse shark. And finally, this species, the short-tail nurse shark, Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum. So I'm excited to learn more about this shark. This is also really cool where it's not just a new nurse shark, but it's just a different genus of nurse sharks. So it's kind of like its own thing altogether. So very excited to learn more about the species tonight. The other thing too regarding the species is that there's footage related to the short-tailed nurse shark, which I was pleasantly surprised to see because it's a critically endangered species and a relatively rare one. So it's really cool to see that there's actually some footage of it, and also some conservation programs regarding aquariums with the species. So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of get into an introduction of what the short-tailed nurse shark is, and then we'll kind of take a look at that footage and maybe dive into some research and see where it goes. So I think we'll probably start out with, we'll do something a little unusual, in the sense that we'll just take a quick look at the Wikipedia article, and I never do this, but I think for this species it kind of helps contextualize like the backstory of the shark, and then we'll go into more verifiable sources like Fishbase, sharkreferences.com, there's actually a bunch of research on this species, and then continue there. But quick little summary for the short-tailed nurse shark. So this is a nurse shark in the nurse shark family. It is the only member of the genus Pseudoginglymostoma. It is found in tropical western Indian Ocean and reaches a length of 75 centimeters, so it's a very small shark. And it's also a critically endangered shark. So of the many things, I know we've talked about Wikipedia on this channel multiple times where it's unusually cued in to a lot of good shark science. And one thing that I do appreciate is that, and I think they have this for a lot of vertebrate animals in general, but Wikipedia will also include the conservation status, the IUCN status, in this like little top level view of a species. So it is critically endangered, showing that the short-tailed nurse shark is critically endangered. And that is indeed correct. So on the IUCN Red List website, the nurse shark is critically endangered, so that is up to date, which is pretty interesting. And it's actually a little bit more up to date than other shark websites that I won't mention. But overall, Wikipedia, between the enormous list of total list of sharks that it has that is continually being updated, and then the conservation status that is also updated, got to give it a lot of credit. So. Distribution in 2020, a short-tailed nurse shark was caught on footage in South Africa by Forrest Galante as he searched for the white-tip weasel shark. Citation needed. Feeding due to lack of information on the short-tailed nurse shark natural diet, Clearwater Marine Aquarium conducted a trial period recording in the scale of the 0 to 5 the preference of which foods the shark gravitated towards. Creating a similar diet. I see a comment. Cheese and Quackers. Howdy. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Hope you've had a good past couple weeks. Oh, thank you. I can't say, but I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Quackers. I'm so glad that you could hop on for a little bit. It's good to see you too. I'm sorry I was out last week. I had, like, long story short, I just had an unexpected like reaction to something. So we just went to the hospital very briefly just to make sure it was all okay, and it was all okay. So, but I'm back and in the holiday garb, and I'm really happy to finish the year with the species. We won't have a stream next week just because I will be gone for holiday festivities myself, but we will be back for the new year. So I've just been having lots of fun, seeing all the people I love when I'm on break. Oh, that's awesome! That is so cool. It's the best. It's one of the best times of year. Really, really glad that you're having a fun time. So hope you continue to enjoy the holiday vibes, and if you have like shark books, it's a great time to catch up on just shark reading too. So any of the Sharks of the World books are really good. And actually, yeah, I'm just gonna, Sharks of the World, Compagno, Ebert. I'm gonna just drop that in the chat as far as, if you're ever interested, if there's like, if there are holiday books and you're interested in a shark book, any of the Sharks of the World books are really good. So I highly recommend those. So, but thank you. I'm definitely doing I'm completely fine, which is great. It was like one of those like precautionary things. So, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's really funny. I was going to say bye, but I know it's Poirot on your tab, but I got excited. So that's actually so cool that you were familiar with Poirot. That's actually really funny that I do. Oh, I see it now. So I do have. I should probably hide that. But so okay. So this is This is a little bit of a holiday treat. I won't click on it for a reason. So Poirot is a show that, for future viewers, it sounds like you're familiar with Quackers. Poirot is fantastic. It is a detective show with it's a British detective show with David Suchet is the actor who plays Poirot. And honestly, like, no shade to Kenneth Branagh because he does a good job, but like David Suchet is like the best Poirot. He's fantastic. He's just so cool, and just such a performance, and each mystery, like each episode it's just wonderful. It's the best mystery series I've ever seen. I've seen Sherlock, and I love Poirot more than Sherlock. Sherlock's good, but like I just, there's just something about Poirot that is just like, I feel like it's just more logical. It just kind of all like pieces together so nicely. So but Poirot is notoriously very difficult to find on streaming. I think it is only on BritBox. However, there is a place and a website where if you were interested in trying to find Poirots, it's like, I think it is actually legal, where I think it's like an Internet Archive thing where it's I'm not promoting piracy, but like there is some kind of archive where I think it was like broadcast at one point and someone made a recording of the broadcast, but because of the way it was broadcast, it's still alive on the internet somewhere, and you do not have to have BritBox, but I'm not endorsing that. I'm just sharing what I've heard. I clearly no way, shape, or form taking advantage of that, of course. So yeah, the Dr. Charles Crime era. That's so great that you have the DVDs. I really wish I should actually pick some up, because I don't know if you know this. I don't know if I've shared this before. For the art that I really love, like for TV shows or movies that I'm like, I really, really, really 100% love it. And I definitely want to like keep it, as far as like there's something especially valuable to that work. I make sure that I have a Blu-ray or DVD copy of that series, just to physically have it, because I like streaming is awesome in so many ways, but there's something about just like physically having that, makes a I just there's something really important to that. So and also, kind of fun fact, I have an old VHS player, and I have the original Star Wars trilogy that was not edited by George Lucas on the VHS, which I'm excited to watch at some point. Like I'm not like a humongous Star Wars fan, but like I like that. It's like that's a good example of like just the benefits of physical media, where it's just like, you know, those VHSs were everywhere, and people were like, probably like, oh yeah, Star Wars is great and everything. But you know, maybe I'll get it someday. And then I don't think anyone realized that that was the last version of the original film before George edited it and put it on DVD and Blu-ray. Like all the DVD and Blu-ray versions and the streaming versions, they're all edited. They all have like weird mishmash of like special effects in them that were not the original cut. And I think the original cut is better, personally. So, same here with an embarrassing amount of VeggieTales. I've been trying to find Zootopia, but no one sells it. Oh shoot! Oh, I feel like there's got to be Zootopia. Hold on. I am so curious. There's got to be. Hold on. Because that was 2016, and that, I feel like that was in that sweet spot where you could still probably get a Blu-ray. Zootopia. Oh, this is tricky. More purchase options. Buy. Oh, this is hard to find. Wow. I'm just on Amazon right now. Interesting. Oh, okay. I will look into this because that's actually really fascinating that they don't. There's gotta be a Blu-ray of it. Sorry, I promise we'll get back to the Nurse Shark in a second. Zootopia Blu-ray. There is. Okay, great. So there's like an Ultra K version that's like $30. There's got to be like less expensive ones too, where. Sorry, I went into a rabbit hole. There is physical Zootopia. There is Dr. Jaws on the case. There is a physical Zootopia. So there is we know at least there's an Ultra, a 4K, whatever you call it, version of it. But that's a fantastic movie, by the way. So, so speaking of movies, motion videos, we do have footage of this shark in the wild. I think we do have the original clip. Where they found this species with a beta remote underwater video survey, and we also have some of the aquarium clips too. So we have just kind of finishing this tidbit of information. Creating a similar diet given to nurse sharks because there's shrimp, clams, skrill. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a weird typo. It's small fish. Through the trial period is discovered that the Shorttail Nurse Shark had a high preference for krill for rating 4, while interests varied between shrimp and clam throughout the trial period. The Shorttail Nurse Shark was found to enjoy okay, so this is where Wikipedia gets weird. So this is actually really good to see, because I have been praising Wikipedia a lot. But look at this. Muscles written like human muscles. You know, that's not the bivalve muscles. Skrill is nothing. Like that's like Skrillex. I don't know what the hell that is, really. Instead of eating them, they played with them and would carry them in their mouths, crack the shells, and hide them under rocks, but none of the meat was eaten. Interesting. So, good little starting point. And this is a good way to use Wikipedia, where it's a good little starting point, but taken with a grain of salt, where it's like, we know that, or we suspect that there's like some footage and some... There's some potential food preferences to the shark, but as we go into the actual research, we'll be able to verify that. So, with that, let's take a look at the footage. So this is real. This is a baited remote underwater video survey of a short-term nurse shark. So I couldn't verify if this is Forrest Galante's video, but it does look to be a Pacific environment, and it is really cool to see that there is, and I'm just going to recenter this to make sure there's a view of the shark. Also, can I get rid of my bookmarks? I guess I can't, unfortunately. But anyway, here we go. So you can see a little bit of the Shorttail Nurse Shark. getting close to that. Let me make sure. Let me put this back so you can actually get a better view of the shark. There we go. There we go. That's much better. So this is a short-tailed nurse shark, and this is actually really cool. Where it's a beautiful species, and this individual is actually rather small. So kind of like a compared to other nurse sharks, which are pretty big. Nurse sharks get to be a pretty formidable size, like the classic ones. This guy is actually kind of small. And what's interesting too is that nurse sharks have kind of when they're juveniles. What the classic nurse shark, Ginglymostoma, when it's a juvenile, it has kind of a more colorful pattern. It has like these speckles and these saddles, and then it turns into this like just single brown or gray pattern as an adult. But I think short-tailed nurse sharks as adults are smaller anyway. Like they're just naturally smaller sharks. So it's kind of cool to see this individual moving in this coral reef environment, or this kind of rocky. I guess it's like a rocky outcropping with a little bit of coral. You definitely have reef fish around here, next to the Beta Remote Underwater Video Survey. But and it's really cool to see how like delicate the species looks, sticking close to the bottom, swimming so effortlessly. It's very pretty. So this is and I was pleasantly surprised to see that this clip exists. So this is a short-tailed nurse shark in the wild. But we also have additional footage of the shark in captivity. So this is a breeding program featuring short-tailed nurse sharks. Oh, thank you, Quackers. I got dropped now, but I'm incredibly grateful for our silly little Sharky community. Have the merriest Christmas, everyone. You too. Happy holidays, and thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you, I think, in the new year. I'll be off next week, but then I'll come back in the new year. So, till then, cheers, Quackers, and have a good one. And then hopefully you'll probably be seeing this later, but this is actually a really cool opportunity to see a baby short-tailed nurse shark developing inside an egg. So nurse sharks lay eggs, so they're oviparous. These guys are actually really cute. They're oviparous or egg-laying sharks. So these are very, very young, newly hatched short-tailed nurse sharks. And interestingly enough, these sharks actually are just a single shade of brown. They're not speckled like other nurse sharks. Really cool thing, and that was a really good example. This little baby nurse shark is moving pretty comfortably. It looks like a newborn, but all sharks, every shark, no matter how they're born, they are fully functional. They're fully mobile. They are ready to hunt, hide, swim. They're ready. So sharks do not require any parental care. They are born ready to be in the wild. And these sharks, even though they're very cute and they're kind of stretching their little fins and starting to get used to what it's like to move in the big, well, not in the big world, in the tank, that shot of the shark just kind of deftly going around that person's hands it's a really cool example of how acrobatic the species is. Like, even though it's a baby shark, that's a lot of mobility. Like compare it to like a foal being born, or like a deer, or like a human baby. It's just, there's so much more mobility. There's so much more activity, and it's a more, just sharks are just so different in the sense that like they're fully functional when they're born, which is really interesting. So these are very cute. They have really big heads, and again, they look, compared to other nurse sharks, they look pretty delicate. Tawny nurse sharks have kind of these really cool sickle-shaped fins. The classic nurse shark again gets to be a formidable size. They actually get to be pretty large animals. Like they're kind of like the sofa cushions of the sea. Like they're just like big and squashy, but they are formidable hunters in their own right. Where they have this like amazing ability to uh, like suction with like this enormous velocity snails from their shells. They have this like vacuum suction power with their mouths, where they position their mouths in such a way where they're able to kind of like apply with their gills, like with their buccal pumping, this really immense amount of water pressure, I forget the technical term for it, but like this immense amount of suction to rip out conches from their cell, or conchs from their cells, or shells. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Conchs from their shells, or lobsters from their shells. So nurse sharks are they're formidable sharks. And it's kind of interesting comparatively. This species has rounded fins. Proportionally, the fins, at least, I mean, these are pups, but proportionally the fins are pretty large relative to the rest of their body. But this species kind of has like a delicateness about it that I really think is cool to watch. But it's interesting to see that its cousins, which both get to be pretty large sizes. And actually, this is interesting to compare to. This is a larger individual. So this is potentially an adult or subadult of a short-tailed nurse shark in an aquarium setting. And similarly, it is lethargic, kind of like the classic nurse shark or the Atlantic nurse shark, but it still moves rather differently. The fins are very rounded. There's more of like a deftness to them than I would say in the other nurse sharks. The other nurse sharks just have this kind of like girth, this kind of like power to them, where short-tailed nurse shark is kind of like, you can almost maybe call it like a pygmy nurse shark, which that actually could be an appropriate name, where it's a nurse shark, but it's just kind of like on a smaller size and a smaller scale. So it's pretty interesting to see. Very cute, very squashy. So I think it is. I want to say the Tennessee Aquarium actually has, and don't quote me on this yet. We'll verify this later, but I think the Tennessee Aquarium has a breeding program with the species. I know there's an aquarium that has some kind of breeding program, which is amazing because it is a critically endangered shark. So. Here are some more pups that have hatched from eggs. So kind of cool to see that. It's actually a really amazing size comparison where they're just kind of comfortably swimming in this little Tupperware container. I'm assuming these are newly hatched individuals because a Tupperware container with a little bit of water in it is okay for a short period of time. So that might be just a temporary place to transport them while they're taking measurements, or maybe to hold them while they're transferring them to a new tank. So these are short-tailed nurse shark eggs, which are pretty interesting. They look almost like kelp blades. In this light, the shark actually has more of a dark bronzy gold color, which is really cool. It's like this orangish hue. It's really pretty. And here they are, these little adorable baby sharks. They actually seem rather social. So they are just kind of spending time with each other. The eyes are actually very tiny. The gills are larger compared to body size. It's actually interesting how they ride up above the pectoral fins, and the eyes are comparatively quite small. What's fun is you can actually see some of the relationship between this species and the whale shark. So whale sharks and short-tailed nurse sharks, or any kind of nurse shark, they're all in the same order, Orlectolobiforms. They all have their mouths right at the front of their head. Whale sharks, is literally at the front of their head. Short-tailed nurse sharks, it's they have a little bit of like a snout, but you can still see just kind of like how the head is a little bit like compressed, how the trunk kind of has more of a more like more surface area from the fins than the actual like body of the shark. So you could just kind of aesthetically see or physically see the similarities between this and a whale shark. Like if you gave this shark spots, like a black like black scales and like white spots, it would look a lot like a whale shark, and it's kind of cool to see the evolutionary relationship between them. So these are adorable little pups. And what's fun is all sharks, whether they're born live or born from eggs, they are pups. They're always called pups. Shark terminology is kind of funny because you have sharks being born as pups, but you still can use the term schooling, where just like with fish or bony fish, sharks can form schools. And then the real classic term for a group of sharks is a shiver of sharks. Which is epic to say, but it's a little silly too. Last clip is also in an aquarium setting, but this is a training. So training a short-tailed nurse shark to receive food from a human hand. So it's kind of like a conditioning. And a little bit of it is experimental. A little bit of it is for the aquarium operation. Looks like there's an epaulette shark in that tank too. So it's another cousin of it's in the same order of Orlictolobiforms. But a beautiful short-tailed nurse shark. Learning to be comfortable being lifted out of the water. This is actually really good conditioning, where it's learning to be comfortable being lifted out of the water, which is necessary if there's an emergency where they had to, or not even emergency, like for times where they need to take physical, maybe blood work or weigh the shark or just kind of do anything related to health. It's good to condition it in an aquarium setting to be comfortable being lifted out of the water, which is not natural. Like no shark would naturally be comfortable with that, but in an aquarium setting, it's actually really good conditioning. It's also a good way to condition the sharks as far as feeding goes, where there has to be an indicator that food is coming. And this is actually really great to help kind of keep fish on a schedule for an aquarium, where it just, like if you have a deliberate schedule, it just keeps everything flowing smoothly, and it also helps kind of monitor portion control as far as how you're taking care of your animals in the tank. So a lot of good things happening here where with this shark. The video is called Shark Training, but this conditioning experiment is providing a lot of benefits at once. So. Really cool shark as far as like how it moves. It has such a signature movement that I actually can't really equate it to any other species. There's just something about, and like every shark species moves uniquely because that it's a unique species, but there's something distinct about how a short-tailed nurse shark moves. It's just very like liquid in its movement. It's just very flexible. It's very just like it just, it's hard to describe like how it is moving, but I wouldn't describe it as like sinusoidal. I would describe it as more like there's like a liquidity to its movement that's so interesting. So okay, so I think with that we'll hop into some more robust sources and learn more about the species in detail. So here we go on the IUCN Red List: the short-tailed nurse shark, Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum, critically endangered, can be found in Madagascar, Tanzania, and Kenya, and it looks like a little bit of Somalia as well. Let's see the short-tail assessment information in detail. The short-tailed nurse shark is a small coastal shark that inhabits coral reefs in the western Indian Ocean off the coast of Kenya, Tanzania, and Madagascar. The species was reportedly abundant in the 1970s and was still common in late 1990s and early 2000s. Very few records have been reported in the last 10 to 15 years, and no sightings are reported from extensive shallow reef underwater visual census surveys in Tanzania, Mozambique, and Madagascar. Heavy and increasing artisanal fishing pressure exists across the species range. It is caught as a target species in some areas and is a bycatch in a wide variety of gears. The species has no refuge from fishing, and its coral reef habitat is threatened by degradation and loss. It is suspected that the short-tail nurse shark has undergone a population reduction of at least 80% over the past 3 generations, estimated 30 years, due to the decline in habitat quality and actual and potential levels of exploitation. Therefore, the species is assessed as critically endangered. So, sad to see that, and it'll be interesting to see if there's any conservation programs in place to help the species. So, let's see. Conservation actions in detail. Oh, currently there are no species-specific conservation measures or protections in place for the short-tailed nurse shark, so it's really a shame. I'm glad that for critically endangered shark species, there are some aquariums that are breeding them. That's ultimately good for the species, but let's see what Fishbase has to say, so if there's anything new here. The scientific name, Pseudoginglymostoma, let's see, brevicaudatum. So brevis means short, caudatus means tailed, referring to the caudal fin being less than 1/4 of the total length. Let's see. Distribution possibly in Mauritius and Seychelles. A little known inshore bottom shark on the continental and insular shelves, well adapted to lie amongst coral reefs due to its tough skin. Depth data not available. Breeding and feeding habits are unknown. Presumably oviparous. Survives for many hours out of water. This is really interesting. So this is actually really cool. A few sharks are known to do this, and the cousin of this species, the epaulette shark, is especially known to do this, where epaulette sharks can survive out of water as a way to assist them when they hop from tide pool to tide pool. So if an epaulette shark is stuck at a tide pool, it can actually walk out where it has a lot of mobility in its pectoral fins and pelvic fins. And an epaulette shark can actually crawl out of a tide pool and walk to get to another tide pool or to another source of water. So it can temporarily survive out of water, and it lives in a similar range. So similarly, I wonder if this short-tailed nurse shark could do something similar to that. And getting back to like how the shark moves, just kind of how I was commenting on its movement, I wonder if that relates to that somehow, where it just kind of like flops on the human's hand, or this person's hand, and it is comfortable. It's not like moving in an exaggerated way as it's being lifted out of the water. So maybe the species has a similar mechanism where maybe short-tailed nurse sharks also can hop from tide pool to tide pool, kind of like epaulette sharks. So I don't know if any nurse shark has mobility in their pectoral fins the way epaulette sharks do. But I wouldn't be surprised because it's not often that a shark is comfortable being held out of water or like in a position where it is out of the water. So let's take a look at, there was like a clip of the babies. Not this one. I think it's here. Kind of want to see how they move again. And particularly, I'm trying to look at their pectoral fins to see if there's any interesting movement. I could see like a little bit of articulation. Oh, here's a good shot. They're definitely very flexible, and it kind of looks like they're waving their pectoral fins for propulsion a little bit, where it's like they'll kind of like wave them a little bit to just get a little bit of a lift. The shark on the shark at the top. Yeah, actually, look at that. Okay, if you look at the pectoral fins, They actually are doing that. So there is a lot of I don't want to say dexterity, but there's a lot of mobility with the fins. Oh, the shark's literally doing that. Okay, here we go. So let's rewind and slow that down. This is actually really cool to see. We'll slow that down. I really appreciate. So look at the pectoral fins in any of these shots, and you actually kind of see something interesting where the shark is actually kind of pushing the water, or can push itself. There we go. It's actually like moving its pectoral fins in a way to push itself forward, a lot like a bony fish, which is unusual. Sharks usually don't do that. So usually sharks have their pectoral fins pretty stiff or with some flexibility. Typically, sharks with pectoral fins that are flexible will angle the pectoral fins to indicate their mood, where it's like if a shark is pissed off, it will angle its fins downward to indicate, "Hey, leave me alone. You're in my space, and I need you to back off," as like a threat display. So I shouldn't say pissed off, but like as a threat display. So an agonistic behavior. But this shark is interesting, where it's definitely, look at that. That's a great shot right there. The pectoral fins are actually moving in such a way where the shark is almost like reaching, like trying to propel itself forward, which is really cool. This is unique amongst the sharks, where only a few species can have that mobility in their pectoral fins. So the epaulet sharks have it. I think a few other carpet sharks might have it, and then it looks like the short-tailed nurse sharks has this ability. And that makes sense if it's a shallow water-dwelling reef shark that may periodically be stuck in tide pools or environments where the water is too shallow. Maybe for example, if there was a coral reef that was very high, the tide went out and it created a barrier from one side of the reef to another, the shark could theoretically. This is another thing that's interesting too. The shark is swimming upside down. That's another unusual behavior where many sharks, when they were upside down or inverted, they experience tonic immobility, where they're kind of in this trance-like paralysis where they don't really move. But looks like this shark is extremely mobile and comfortable with being upside down and comfortable using its pectoral fins to propel itself. It's really fascinating, actually. Let's see. No other notes from FishBase, so we'll kind of keep looking here in sharkreferences.com. So first description is from actually 1867. I think the species was formally described... Oh, never mind. I guess it is formally described in 1867. Fishes of Zanzibar with a list of fishes on the whole east coast of Africa was the original description. This is a illustration from the original description. I think, now I said in the video description, this is a new species, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this shark was reabsorbed into nurse sharks in general, and then recently separated again, back to the original description of 1867. So, excuse me. Different names are nurse shark, short-tail nurse shark, and that's it for English. Endormi is the French name, or the Requin nourrice acuecorte, which I'm not saying that correctly, I'm sure. Gata nodriza rabacorta is the Spanish name. Really cool shot of an individual that is very dark brown in color, so really cool. Weird distribution map from Shark References, where there's a lot of data points here. I don't know if they're verified, because the distribution should just be southeastern Africa. Here is a cool shot of the A case. So again, it's resembles in many ways like a strand of kelp or a frond of kelp. Really cool shot of the jaws, and in particular, let's see if I could zoom in. Oh, I can't. I always do this. In particular, just how proportionally large the teeth are. So these sharks probably, so it's described that they go after krill, like crustaceans. And these teeth are proportionally quite large for the jaw, but since the shark is quite small, these might be large enough to handle the prey items that it handles. So, tricuspidate teeth, pretty interesting to see. Almost looks like a lamiform tooth in a weird way, where it just is like this pretty large triangular shaped blade with these two cusplets. So multiple rows. It looks like multiple rows of functional teeth. And then here's the lower jaw, where you have it looks to be 5 cusplets. So the main cusp right here, 2 little prongs or cusplets on either side, and then 2 really, really tiny ones. Very interesting. Let's see. So not much other information on the species. So I think what we might do is, because it's 9:41, and with the holiday season, let's see. Because I know we won't have a stream next week. We might go through the research on the species, and then we might end like a little bit earlier tonight, just because I'm sure people are away for the holidays. But I'm excited to learn more about this shark and how it plays a role in its environment. So we have a couple different papers. Some of them are generic, like defining ecological roles of sharks at coral reefs. I'm going to see if I can find something about... Here we go. The Shorttail Nurse Shark in particular. This one is about a new nurse shark species that's going to use the Shorttail Nurse Shark in comparison. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll just kind of go through all of these in order. Well, actually, let me double check. Let's see. Fishes of coastal Kenya. Oh, here we go. Okay, we'll start with the specific ones about the Shorttail Nurse Shark, and then we'll kind of progress to more generic articles, and then I think we'll wrap up a little earlier tonight. So, range extension of the critically endangered Shorttail Nurse Shark, Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum, to include Mozambique, with implications for management. So this is relatively recent, 2021. Here we go. The critically endangered Shorttail Nurse Shark, Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum, is a small-bodied or ectolobiform shark found only in the western Indian Ocean. We report here on a significant range extension for Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum based on 4 records of the species in southern Mozambique, recorded during research surveys, including a specimen collected in 1967 and video surveys in 2019, and opportunistic assessments of shore angular photographic catch records. These are the first records of Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum in Mozambique. The potential factors for this range extension and its implications for the management of the species are discussed. We also present morphological descriptions of the first recorded, I'll just say Shorttail Nurse Shark specimen from Mozambique, and the dentition of the species based on samples from Madagascar, and comment on the current status of knowledge and knowledge gaps for the species. Owing to its poor conservation status, limited inshore distribution, and potential unconfirmed fishery threats, improved knowledge and conservation should be considered priorities for the Shorttail Nurse Shark. So, unfortunately, there's a paywall for the full article, but the abstract does reveal that, okay, the conservation status of the shark may not be... I mean, it's still really bad as critically endangered, but the range is larger than originally expected, so it's a little bit of hope there. Still, it's not good if it's a shallow water shark and it has not been seen in a long time. So, let's see. Let's see. Trying to skim through to find the Shorttail Nurse Shark in particular. Because it's critically endangered and we don't know much about it, we unfortunately may not see a lot specifically about this species. I see an article on a classic nurse shark. Let's see. We have a summary profile of the Shorttail Nurse Shark here from FAO. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is actually something. So FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, has some stuff on the Shorttail Nurse Shark. Let's see. So field marks, very short barbels, eyes and gill openings, dorsolateral, color dark brown without spots or other markings. I won't read everything in detail. Teeth not compressed and not imbricated. Functional series not separated from replacement series by toothless space. Tooth crown feet very narrow. Cusps large. Cusplets very small, 1 or 2 on each side. Teeth with moderately broad basal edges. Pectoral fins broad and not falcate in adults. Apically rounded. Pectoral fins origin slightly in front of the third gill slits. That's actually really close. Pretty interesting. This little-known inshore bottom shark occurs on a continental and insular shelves of East Africa, Madagascar, but details are lacking on its habitat except that it occurs in coral reefs. Depth data are not available. The biology of the short-tail nurse shark, including breeding and feeding habits, is poorly known. An adult or near-adult female had a large, nidamental glands, suggesting that the species may be egg-laying, but this needs confirmation. So I think between all the videos that we saw, we confirmed that this is an egg-laying shark. So with the clips that we saw earlier. A female short-tailed nurse shark has lived over 33 years and a male 3 years in captivity at the Artis Zoo, Amsterdam. These are understudied by A. Draal E. Bruins and P. Boer, who are preparing a detailed account for publication. Both individuals are alive at a time of writing, and the female has laid infertile eggs in strong egg cases 2 at a time for the past 10 years. This suggests that the short-tailed nurse shark is oviparous but needs confirmation. I think it's safe to say it's oviparous or egg-laying. These sharks mate in captivity, but so far no eggs have been hatched as the pair eat their eggs. That's interesting. So that kind of cannibalism, it does happen. So it famously happens in lambda-form sharks, but it also happens in carcharidiform sharks. So bull sharks can sometimes do that. But I've never heard of it happening with ornitholobiform sharks, so I'm kind of surprised that nurse sharks do that. But I guess this is what they do. These sharks are slow-moving, nocturnally active, sit on the open bottom, or hide in holes or crevices during the day, and will only move during the day when fed. They eat annelid worms, raw and cooked mussels, cut raw fish and shrimps. Presumably the species eats small fishes, mollusks, and crustaceans in the wild. The two sharks are non-aggressive in community tanks, and the female has been kept with much larger nurse sharks, Ganglymostoma serratum, without incident. The maximum size is at least 75 centimeters, so it's still a really small shark. 2 adult males examined were 59 to 75 centimeters, while a live captive adult male is 65 centimeters long. A female examined was immature at 52 centimeters, while another was adolescent at 56 centimeters, and a third was adult or nearly so, with large oviducts and nidamental glands, but without oviducal eggs or fetuses at 53 centimeters. Captive adult female at the Artis Zoo is 70 centimeters long. Let's see. So a lot more information on this shark than I was expecting, which is great. So, and it's really great to see that these sharks in this aquarium probably are closer to the adult size. So, again, beautiful species, really unique in terms of how it moves, what it is. Spending its daytime hours just hiding in coral reefs and finding a nice nook and cranny. It probably wedges itself in between little rocks, rock outcroppings, or coral spaces, where it's nice and snug. And I say that because it is so flexible in its movement. So another shot of, it looks like after that article was written, there's more information on Shorttail Nurse Shark development. So here's some great detailed information on or footage of the eggs developing into baby Shorttail Nurse Sharks. So very cute. It's actually kind of cool to see them maneuver around this little piece of coral here. Even just in this tank, where it looks like their natural habit is to be around it, underneath it, on it. Again, that's actually a really great demonstration of like the shark swimming inverted. This is something that is unusual for sharks to do. Most sharks are not comfortable being upside down, so it's really cool to see the species is unique in that way. Okay. Let's see. So I might find that might be it as far as, oh, we got one more, and then I think we'll read maybe one or two general article abstracts, and then I think we may call it a night early, just for the holiday season. But this one's interesting. Shorttail nurse sharks education, diet, and habitat in an aquarium setting. So education is what was going on here. So this was the nurse shark training here. This is, I think conditioning is a good term for it, but you could say education too. So trying to get the shark to be comfortable with being lifted out of the water or coming to a human hand for feeding. So I remember I took care of hake. Yeah, it was hake, red hake and white hake in a it was the Seacoast Science Center in New Hampshire, and we had to do something similar where we had to condition them to swim to the top of a tank for feeding, just to make sure. I mean, they would have done it anyway because they were so eager for food. But this is really helpful. Anything you could do to kind of like make sure that the aquarium inhabitants are comfortable with humans. One time I cleaned a black sea bass tank, and the sea bass just was like very chill, very comfortable. I had to get it to move to another side so I can clean underneath it, and he was so relaxed that he just wouldn't move. So I kind of gently nudged it, where it's like, hey, please. But anyway, condition like this in an aquarium setting, in a public aquarium setting, is just it's good practice. So. Let's see, for the article, short-tailed nurse sharks, Pseudoginglymostoma brevicaudatum, are a critically endangered species from the western Indian Ocean that have become a common captive species in many aquariums. Clearwater Marine Aquarium has 2 young resident short-tailed nurse sharks. Despite housing this endangered species, many guests of Clearwater Marine Aquarium do not know that the short-tailed nurse shark are in the aquarium or have any information about them. The natural diet of the short-tailed nurse shark is unknown. Clearwater Marine Aquarium feeds them a small variety of shrimp, clam, krill, and silversides. They are currently on a feeding rating to determine which food is preferred. The current habitat is an appropriate size, but the sharks will outgrow this habitat as they mature. The objectives of this project are to create a sign for guests to learn about the short-tailed nurse shark, create a matching infographic sheet for staff, volunteers, and interns to learn about the species, record feeding data, and generate ideas for future habitat as these 2 residents grow. A sign placed above the shark habitat has received positive feedback from aquarium guests and provides information about how people can participate in shark conservation. The feeding rating of the short-tailed nurse shark has determined that silversides are most suited for their diet with an average rating of 3. Shrimp had a rating of 3.1, and clam had a rating of 2.9, encouraging a continuation of a varied diet. The shark's future habitat will be 420 gallons, with a large coral column in the center to provide the short-tailed nurse shark with platforms to lay on and spaces to hide. This habitat is recommended to be placed near the resident nurse shark, Gymnosoma serratum, habitat to provide guests with a comparison between the 2 species. The completion of these projects led to future research of the short-tailed nurse shark to create solutions for their critically endangered assessment. So, very cool. Definitely want to check out Clearwater Marine Aquarium. So I think I may have misspoke. I thought this was Tennessee, but this is Florida. So Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Oh. Okay. So we're going to check out. Let's see, we could do visit. I guess we'll do visit. And I saw a live cam option, so I might click on that just in case. But missions, visit info, educational programs. I guess we'll do visit info. Never been on this website before. Beautiful shot of a bottlenose dolphin, by the way. Regular hours, directions of parking. Wait a minute, where is... Oh, okay, so I actually used to live not too far from... I probably lived maybe 2 hours away. I currently live in Virginia, but Clearwater Marine Aquarium is here, and I used to fly in to Tampa International. Tampa Airport is really nice, by the way. And then I would take... Would I take this bridge? I would take the Sky Bridge. St. Pete, Carolina. Okay. So anyway, sorry. I used to live down here at Bradenton, so not too far away. But let's see. I wish it would give me exhibit information. Oh. Let's see. Animal care experiences, dolphins, shark care. Oh, okay, there is a nurse shark in that frame, but that looks like the classic nurse shark. Let's see. I have a question. Let's try this. Shorttail Nurse Shark. The short-tailed nurse shark is a very species from Western Indian Ocean. It's been over 30 years. Its main threats are habitat fishing and mining. Sorry, put this here so you can see it. Selected sustainably source souvenirs and products can directly support the conservation of short-tailed nurse sharks and marine life. Every mindful choice helps protect these species and the health of our oceans. You can visit the short-tailed nurse shark in the sea cavern exhibit at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Okay. So I saw that there was like a live webcam. I wonder if we could see the sea cavern exhibit. We've got the Stone Dolphin Complex webcam. Let's see. Filter by animal. Let's see. There's an otter webcam, Nick's Harbor webcam, pelican webcam, rescue hideaway, sea turtle. Shoot. So it looks like they don't have the sea cavern exhibit, but I wonder if we could find it on YouTube really quickly. Clearwater Marine Aquarium sea cavern exhibit. I'm gonna try this, and if this is not correct, I'll just move on. So, but pretty interesting. Again, never been to this aquarium before. Don't need a tour. Just want to see what's in here. I'm just gonna skip ahead through the talking parts. This does look like a really fun place, though. It's got like a little touch tank. Yeah, and it looks like they don't have the shark on display, unfortunately. So I was just kind of skipping through. Okay. Still, really amazing species to have, because I'm assuming there's no other aquarium that has the short-tailed nurse shark. So that's pretty incredible. I think with that, we'll kind of take a quick look on some other kind of like broader focus studies, and then I think we'll wrap it up. So let's see. This one did catch my eye. Defining ecological roles of sharks and coral reefs. Sharks have often been perceived to play a critical role in the dynamics of coral reef ecosystems globally. Yet, there is relatively little evidence to support this idea across all but a limited set of species and contexts. Research on the roles and importance of reef sharks has been complicated by logistical challenges in collecting data on sharks, compounded by widespread declines in shark populations and reef state due to anthropogenic stressors. However, a better understanding of ecological roles is essential to uncover when, where, how, and to what degree sharks contribute to the function of coral reefs. To address this lack of understanding, we present a standardized framework for determining the ecological roles of reef sharks, including how different streams of data related to movement ecology, trophic ecology, demographics, and ecological contexts can be combined within specific functional components that collectively... Oh, I lost my place. Collectively define the ecological roles of reef sharks. A series of steps and questions are used to guide research on individual species and promote collection of necessary data. We explore what data and real-world examples can mean for uncovering roles and how data can be interpreted from a functional perspective. Although the framework is centered around breaking down ecological roles into simpler components, it forces researchers to complete a comprehensive evaluation of the animal's ecology and consider how data from each of these components complements each other in a broader context. The need for a detailed and direct approach for researchers to explore the mechanisms, patterns, and causes that comprise reef shark ecological roles is supported by a literature review showing expansive knowledge gaps that persist for most coral reef resident and smaller-bodied species. Existing research on the movement and trophic ecology of reef sharks is diverse and spans a broad range of topics and contexts, indicating potential for combining and reevaluating existing data to improve current knowledge of roles. Resident species with relatively large amounts of published research include gray reef, black tip reef, and white tip reef sharks, which are among the most widely abundant sharks on coral reefs. As ongoing changes to coral reefs may alter rates of ecological processes, understanding the roles and importance of reef sharks will be crucial to predicting future reef states and enacting effective conservation and management strategies to preserve key functions. So it looks like we have the whole article. So we'll kind of skim through to see if we can find the Shorttail Nurse Shark in here. But it does already sound like a pretty interesting study. So, let's see if we can get it. Doesn't seem to pop up on search. So, let's see. I'm going to skim through this. Let's see. An important first step in understanding ecological roles is to distinguish between functional roles, specific functions performed by an animal, and ecological roles, which we define as the sum of functional roles within a given context. Interesting. So this is kind of defining the parameters of the study. Reef-associated sharks are widely distributed on coral reefs, one of the most biologically diverse and productive ecosystems globally, and among the most vulnerable to environmental change. Increasing anthropogenic stress has led to simultaneous decline of both shark populations and reef state. Reef sharks are functionally extinct from 20% of coral reefs, with widespread overfishing as a primary driver compounded by climate change and habitat degradation. Research on reef sharks has been limited to a few species in ecological contexts due to the low abundance of sharks on coral reefs relative to other, less wide-ranging species. Defining reef sharks. Interesting. Coral reef associated sharks include all species that spend some part of their life on coral reefs. Based on the proportion of time spent on reefs and their levels of dependence on them, reef associated sharks can be categorized into two principal groups: residents and transients. We define resident sharks as species that remain present on coral reefs throughout their life cycle or are commonly found at coral reefs and adjacent habitats year-round. Transient sharks are species that spend only part of their life cycle on coral reefs or occur on coral reefs opportunistically or seasonally but are not reliant on them and use a wide range of available habitats. For this study, we refer to all coral reef associated sharks, that is, reef residents and transients collectively as reef sharks. We include transient species because they might perform ecological functions that are important for sustaining healthy coral reef ecosystems, including interactions with reef residents that affect their ecological roles. We compiled a list of 67 reef sharks that are classified as either reef residents or transients, spanning 4 orders and 16 families. Table S1. I'm very excited to read that. Inclusion of species of reef sharks and categorization into residency groups was based on a combination of prior residency classifications from published reviews on reef-associated sharks, detailed species-specific habitat use information, and other applicable literature. Okay. I'm so excited to read this. I hope this will come through, because this is going to be a complete list of coral reef sharks, like sharks that you consider residents of coral reefs. I am going to verify that I am a human. Let's see. Okay, this is actually really cool. Alright, here we go. Is this in order? It is. Oh wait, actually no. Let's make this in order. Okay, I really love. This is quite nerdy, but I do love a good spreadsheet. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that. Okay, so here we go. Okay, cool. So we'll start with the Electrolobiforms because this is where our shark is. So here we go. There's a lot of carpet sharks that are associated with the reefs. So just shouting out the big ones: the zebra shark, the northern woebegone, the tassel woebegone, the epaulette sharks. Oh man, these are all residents. Let's see. The Shorttail Nurse Shark. Here we go. So our species right here is classified as a resident of coral reefs. That's really cool. The whale shark. This is great. Actually, I love this list. Okay, so for the Orlectolobiforms for the carpet sharks, we have the whale shark, zebra shark, perhaps all of the woebegones or a lot of the woebegones. So that's really cool to see. Carpet sharks, epaulette sharks, bamboo sharks. All 3 nurse shark species, the nurse shark, tawny nurse shark, and short-tail nurse shark. And I think that's it for Orlectolobiforms. Lambdiforms is only a few. We've got the small-tooth sand tiger, which we covered recently, the sand tiger, the big-eye thresher, and the pelagic thresher. So all the other lambdiforms are more like open ocean or coastal animals. Hadrodontiforms, we have 2, the Galapagos bullhead shark and the Mexican horn shark. And the Carcharodontiforms, we have quite a few. We have a couple smoothhounds. We have the bonnethead, scalloped hammerhead, and great hammerhead sharks. We have a few cat sharks. This is so cool. The Indonesian speckled cat shark, Bali cat shark, coral cat shark, spotted belly cat shark, New Caledonia cat shark, and black spotted cat shark. We've got some weasel sharks, so Hemigalius, so this is close to Hemipristis, Indonesian speckled cat shark, and then a lot of carcharodontids, more than I was expecting. So the white-tip reef shark, Atlantic sharpnose shark, Caribbean sharpnose shark, lemon shark, slit-eye shark, tiger shark, spot-tailed shark, Caribbean reef shark, dusky shark, bull shark, black-tip reef shark, Galapagos shark, nervous shark, gray reef, silver-tip, and black-nose shark. Interesting. I'm curious which sharks are residential sharks. So actually quite a few. So in no particular order, residential sharks that spend most of their life cycle on a coral reef are the silver-tip shark, gray reef shark, Galapagos shark, black-tip reef shark, Caribbean reef shark, white-tip reef shark, Bali cat shark, spotted belly cat shark, coral cat shark, New Caledonia cat shark, black spotted cat shark, short-tailed nurse shark, Arabian carpet shark, Burmese bamboo shark, Indonesian bamboo shark, white spotted bamboo shark, brown banded bamboo shark, Indonesian speckled carpet shark, Cenderawasih epaulet shark, Papuan epaulet shark, Halmahera epaulet shark, Henry's epaulet shark, Michael's epaulet shark, hooded carpet shark, speckled carpet shark, tassel woebegone, northern woebegone, zebra shark. So what a beautiful collection of sharks, as far as like just this ecological role. So I'm actually going to, let me go back. I'm going to post this in the chat for future viewers because this is a really cool study. And then I think, let's see, this is where I left off. I'm going to continue in terms of like what some key findings on coral reef sharks are, but that's actually really cool to see. Like, coral reef sharks are not the norm. There's 550 sharks now, relatively, and there's about 60-ish species of coral reef sharks. So that's not the majority, which kind of makes sense because coral reefs are not the majority of ocean habitats either. But still, it's so interesting. Oh. Let's see. Functional roles of reef sharks are typically defined in terms of trophic interactions, with a larger focus on their roles as predators and less research on potential non-feeding functions. As relatively large-bodied predators, reef sharks are often perceived as species that could help structure food webs through direct predation and risk effects. Let's see. Proposed functional roles of reef sharks can be broadly summarized as predators, prey, competitors, vectors, and stores for nutrients, and facilitators. Let's see. These include their roles in direct predation, risk effects, for example, inducing changes in behavior or physiology of prey, and their interactions, which may cascade through ecosystems. Transporting nutrients within and between habitats directly, for example, ingestion and excretion, or indirectly alter prey behavior, creating large nutrient deposits through carcass deposition, and facilitating feeding opportunities for other predators. These functional roles are diverse and vary spatially and temporally across species, sexes, and ontogeny, further complicating defining functional and ecological roles of individual species. So, nice little Venn diagram. We don't need to get into the questions as much, because I really am curious about the results, so... Yeah, we don't need... This is a really amazing study, but we don't need to get into all the nitty-gritty. Okay. So, really cool chart. Let's see. Okay, so this is talking about, this is actually really interesting. So this beautiful chart is summarizing the more colorful this is, the more well studied it is. The barer this is, the less well studied it is. And it's actually really interesting to see that phylogenetically, we've got a lot of great studies on all the Carcharodontidae and the Carcharodontiforms. We have some studies on like the sand tiger sharks, some studies on like the tawny nurse shark, the zebra shark. Our nurse shark, the short-tailed nurse shark, is right here, but it's basically got nothing. There's no information on the species, unfortunately. And similarly, there's carpet sharks, like bamboo sharks and woebegones, that don't really have any information either, or hardly any information. Really, the most well-studied sharks of the entire order are the zebra shark, the tawny nurse shark, the whale shark, and the nurse shark. So it's really It's interesting to see that. It shows that there's a lot of opportunity for research for the other carpet shark species. Let's see. Conclusions. Oh, is that it? Let's see. So, I guess a major conclusion is despite assumptions that sharks play a crucial role in coral reefs, there are limited data to support the generalized contribution to reef health or dynamics. There's knowledge gaps that we want to fill. I'm gonna, like, let's see, just kind of hop back to see if there's any other like important notes here. So, but I think a lot of this is like theoreticals. Unfortunately, I'm just skimming to see if there's any interesting notes on a particular shark species and how it shapes a coral reef. I think this is a great study as far as like trying to contextualize, how do you quantify and how do you study sharks affecting coral reefs. But it looks like as far as results and details, not so much. So, really great point right here though. Movement and habitat use of juvenile reef sharks is generally centered around a trade-off between acquiring energy and avoiding predators, which often results in them using inshore shallow waters that offer lower predation risk but increased competition for food. There we go. For example, juvenile blacktip reef sharks at Orpheus Island, Australia, are highly resident within the bay and remain in shallow waters less than 1 meter deep. Their observed shallow water movement and behavior was largely attributed to predator avoidance and has been documented in Ningaloo, Western Australia, and Palmyra Atoll. As individuals grow, vulnerability to predation declines, with competition and resource requirements increase, prompting dispersal from natal grounds into new habitats along with increased dietary breadth and activity space. Expansion into new habitats that have greater reproductive and foraging rewards is facilitated by increased movement rates for foraging capabilities that accompany growth. Let's see. I wonder if I can find anything on, nurse sharks in general. Here we go. Nursery areas. Let's see. Nursery area. Let's see. Okay, here's something on a cousin. The Great Barrier Reef provides a clear example of spatially distinct roles of reef shark species. Although reef sharks are collectively approximately 6 times more abundant on the reef slope compared with the reef flat, gray and white-tip reef sharks occupy the more structurally complex reef slope and back reef habitats more than the reef flat, while blacktip reef and tawny nurse sharks prefer the reef flat habitat. And that's it. So, yeah. Great study. Really, really cool stuff. I think this is a good foundation for future research where it's a good framework to do future studies that try to really break down what the role of certain how do you contextualize the ecological role of certain shark species in a coral reef environment. So just really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to skim one more time, and then I think this might be... This actually might be the last stream of 2025, because it is, because I will be off next week. So let's see. I think that reef shark study was actually really cool. So, Hefixicture rising extinction risk. I just want to check to see if there's anything about the... Shorttail Nurse Shark, but I think perhaps not. Other than it's critically endangered. So, that might be it. We already read this. Yep, we already read this. So I think what we might do is we might call it a night. So, and I'm going to end on a nice clip of the species, and I'll make sure this is slower. So, yeah. Okay, so slow-mo outro for the Shorttail Nurse Shark. But this was oh hey, what's up, Marshall Cook or I guess this is I like YouTube changed the term, so I'm seeing your username. I know this is not like your YouTube name, so oh, thank you. Have a Merry Christmas and great New Year's. What a great stream to end the year. Thank you for diving into this. Thank you. I mean, this species was such a great suggestion, and thank you. Sorry, I almost knocked my computer off. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate just all the support for the channel, and it's grown. I mean, since this is the last stream of 2025. I just want to say it's been a really exciting year for sharks in general, and for this channel specifically, it's grown actually quite a lot. We're still like microscopic, but it's a really passionate community of people, and it's small but mighty, and it's incredible to think that I think there was maybe like 180 subscribers when this project started. Now we're at 312, which is kind of incredible, and I think it's going to continue to grow through 2026. Most importantly, though, we got to talk about a lot of sharks this year, and especially sharks that don't really have a lot of information like this species. So I really appreciate all the viewers who contribute suggestions on new shark species to cover, and most especially for being here and having great conversations about sharks and just being passionate about these amazing animals. As always, and I think I said this for 2024 as well, there's a lot of research that still needs to be done, and there's a lot of knowledge gaps that we don't have. Like we, there's a lot of sharks that we still don't know a lot about, which I find extremely exciting and encouraging. So, yeah, well, thank you. Dumb and Dumber, they're sick. Yeah, I mean, this species was such a cool pick, and it's a really nice way to end the year, where it's a critically endangered species, and I'm glad that we got to highlight some attention on it and highlight this really cool aquarium program. So Clearwater Marine Aquarium, where a lot of, I think this footage is coming from, has a program for the Shorttail Nurse Shark in terms of breeding it, just trying to figure out what its biology is like, and hopefully as a kind of safeguard for its habitat destruction. This species deserves all the attention that we can give, and any future research or any kind of future studies that we can do, it would be really, really cool. So yeah, I totally agree. Nurse sharks in general are amazing. It's such a cool group of animals, and I love that this one amongst the nurse sharks is unique. So it's uniquely smaller. It's uniquely a lot more flexible, where it's the ability to stay out of the water for as long as it does. It's really cool because like nurse sharks in general are pretty tough. Like they actually can survive tough conditions pretty well, where if nurse sharks are accidentally caught on the hook, they actually last very, very long, and much longer than other shark species like hammerheads or bull sharks even. But it's really cool to see that this shark has the ability to stay out of water for an extended period, like not a long period of time, but an extended period of time, and still be okay. So this was a really cool one to end on, just like this really amazing little unique shark. It's just really cool to see that there's actually stuff unique about the species in terms of like how it moves, how it lives, and I'm so glad that we actually got to see footage on it. So, but guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. I will be out next week, but I will be back in the new year with a surprise shark. So whether it's a living shark or a prehistoric shark, or maybe another behavior special. The spy hopping episode was super fun, so maybe we'll do something like that for 2026. But until then, happy holidays. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the new year, in the future. So cheers, guys. See you soon. Bye.